But yeah, dollar's going to be the main focus because, of course, it's a big day today in terms of news release, NFP. I know my bias coming into NFP, which is very bullish. If we do see a bit of a drop for NFP, as long as it doesn't take out any major structure, I still remain bullish for the dollar. So overall, if I do expand to the higher time frames, as I keep mentioning, we've still seen a very successful breakout of this weekly range, which keeps me bullish until proven otherwise, such as the weekly chart was to bleed back inside the range and close below. I'll hold my hands up and reanalyze from there. But at the moment, still very confident breakout. And my goal or target, let's say, not really goal, but target for dollar is still to continue this uptrend, potentially back to the highs up there at 113. So taking that into consideration for the lower time frames, we are looking a little bit stale. Prices coming into an area of resistance and starting to slow down a little bit. Maybe NFP today just goes and breaks through that. That's a real possibility. Or maybe NFP does give us a bit of a move to the downside. We have another retracement, maybe come back into lows again. There's still this area down here, which possibly could still get a retest. I've been going on about that area past couple of weeks. Haven't seen that happen yet. Again, if it was to have a big push down and test that level, I think it still looks like a great level to be looking to long, of course, with confirmations, not just jumping straight in. But yeah, in terms of my buys for dollar, it's still very bullish. However, I'm not really looking to buy USD right now. You can see we're coming to resistance. So if anything, I want price to actually push down off the back of NFP to give us more opportunities to find some higher lows to buy back in, or potentially be bullish, break the high, and then we look for the next pullback afterwards. Either which way, I can't be looking to buy directly into resistance, especially as a swing bias on the lower time frames. Of course, you're looking for smaller targets. You can look to work with that, but me, myself, and I will struggle to get entries in the 4-hour chart into that area there. So it's either we break through and we look for some pullbacks afterwards, or price has that deeper pullback. Either which way, it presents an opportunity for myself. So USD bias is bullish. In terms of NFP, it's a guessing game. Maybe it's bullish, maybe it's bearish. We'll find out when it happens. All I know is that I'm looking for opportunities that favor more upside. So whenever they present themselves, I'll make sure I'm there to take them. So going into EURUSD, not much since we last spoke. The market's been pretty flat. Overall, you're kind of just seeing consolidation in this area here. And that might persist until NFP, to be honest. A few people did mention on the stream yesterday that we might consolidate, might be a bit sideways until NFP. And that has been the reality with the dollar, with EURUSD since we last spoke. Market hasn't really gone anywhere. Again, with Euro, I know my bias. I'm expecting more downside. I'm expecting these lows to be taken out eventually. At the start of the week, I was looking for a push back into this area. Unfortunately, it didn't quite happen. I was kind of looking for something like this. First push there, pull back, second push, and then hopefully the continuation to continue these lower highs. One over there, lower low, next lower high, of course, next lower low. Same price action on the weekly chart as the dollar as well. Very confident break to the downside outside of this range here. So as long as that is still at play and we're still staying below that level of support, which of course will be now acting as resistance, as long as we can stay below that, I do expect to see a lot more downside there for Euro and of course upside for USD. So that is why I'm looking for those lower highs from a higher time frame perspective. But of course, the 4-hour chart is also bearish as well. So I'm looking for the entries. Again, nothing really to do down at these parts from my bias and where I look to enter my trades. I still do like that area just above us where we're trading. I mentioned this a few times yesterday that we could have seen price tap into that before continuing. Maybe we're waiting for NFP to give us that move before a push down. So I'll probably watch out for that. But again, I wouldn't take any entries until after NFP anyway. If you're not already in a trade now, if you look to enter now, you've got what, 3.5 hours before, even less than that, before the news does come out. So you have to ask yourself, is my trade going to hit TP in that time? If not, then you're probably just going to be sitting in a trade for NFP. And if you have a really tight stop loss, you have to watch out for spread widening, slippage, and things can go badly there. But yeah, wait until after NFP, dust will settle. You can look for a clearer bias of what you want to do and then take opportunities in that regard. I'm still looking for this move. Again, will it happen? I have no idea. But if it does happen, I'll be there waiting. So if USD does become very weak after NFP, let's say, maybe we do get that extended pullback, and I'll keep an eye for some shorts around 1.04795. And then, of course, the targets is for a push back down into the low. In terms of pound USD, same situation, looking for pullbacks and more downside. This one's taking out some major lows on the daily chart, weekly chart as well, which is this low here this week. We broke through that like it was nothing. So yeah, now I want to see a bit of a pullback now for pound USD. Still very bearish, still seeing lower lows and lower highs, but since we've taken out a major low like that, I do want the market to have a bit of a breather. I don't want to be looking to constantly short into that, because I know that after we do take out these major daily, weekly lows, it does tend to give us that bigger pullback. So I have to be a bit, have to be patient and wary of that. This is still our last major lower high. So technically speaking, pound USD could go through a pullback, something like this, and still give us that lower high to continue. So I have to be a bit wary of that. But yeah, at least I pull back into this area before I start considering some shorts again. And we'll see what we do. I was expecting it to hold the first time, but we just got price breaking above, breaking back below. So if we can come back, retest that level again, that'll be great. And hopefully from there, we can catch some nice shorts and some continuations. And if we have a deeper pullback, as I spoke about at the start of the week, there are some areas up here which do look good as well for some shorts. So 1.26 roughly area. So yeah, that's kind of really where I'm at with pound USD euro. Still more downsides. Of course, dollar CAD, same situation really. Still looking at more upside. Just nowhere near my entry level. This is the level which I said I was looking to buy from, which is 1.415. And of course, looking to take it back to the highs and so on and so forth. I still do have much longer term targets for dollar CAD, 1.46, 1.47, back at the highs here. So that's why I'm very bullish in dollar CAD. Of course, my USD bias does play into that, but dollar CAD itself is looking extremely bullish at the moment. Excuse me. USD CAD is looking extremely bullish at the moment. And of course, with that USD strength, that does help things out. So it's either we get that bigger pullback back into 1.416, we'll call it, or price just goes and breaks the high and looks for some retest afterwards. So it's up to dollar CAD how it wants to play it. If USD is bullish from NFP, we might just go and break the high today. And then next week, we can start to discuss some pullbacks and retest of those levels. If USD is bearish today and we get a really big drop, then we could start talking about this area here. So yeah, we'll wait for NFP to dictate what we're going to do today. I know my bias is still looking for the buys. So even if it is bearish, it just means I'm expecting bigger pullbacks necessarily before we do continue. Aussie dollar still looking pretty bearish. Have we taken out that daily swing low yet? Daily, weekly swing low? Not quite yet, but it's right at its... it's in touch and distance right now. So I do expect us to go and take out that low pretty soon there with Aussie dollar. I've talked about some bigger retracements for Aussie dollar. Unfortunately, they haven't really come into fruition. I said I was looking for some pullbacks up into these areas, but I haven't really got price trading there, unfortunately. It's just been way too bearish. And that has kind of been the story of Aussie dollar for the past couple of months. We've seen some frequent pullbacks, but very shallow pullbacks, and market sees a bit of upside and sells off really aggressively, and that has been a theme for quite a while. But once we do take out this weekly low, I do expect to see that bigger pullback, because the market is a little bit stretched, it's a bit overextended, and in FX we don't tend to move in straight lines forever, especially when we're coming into major lows like that. We do tend to bounce, whether we're going to bounce directly on the level or break through it a little bit, then react. There's a good chance we do see some upside at some point. I still think the bigger move is to the downside. I'm still long-term bearish, but that bigger pullback is more and more likely now. And a similar situation with New Zealand dollar, except we're not quite at the lows just yet. So we've got the low down here, which I'm still expecting price to get to. We've taken out some major lows on the left here, so I do expect a bigger pullback at some point now with New Zealand dollar. But yeah, just no opportunity just yet as price keeps falling. I did speak about these areas for some shorts, but price is just remaining very, very bearish at the moment in time. So no opportunities there with New Zealand dollar. And again, for all I know, we could just keep falling to the downside and go and eventually take out the lows at 0.551. So if we can get that bigger pullback, for some reason, maybe NFP does give us a bearish USD, maybe we do see that bigger pullback. And then next week, we can start speaking about some shorts. If not, we might just keep falling. And yeah, there won't be a trade there for me. In terms of gold and silver, so gold's still been pretty bullish. Last time I looked at it, yes, still slowly pushing to the upside, breaking resistance after resistance here. So with gold, I've talked about this range, equal highs over there, equal lows down here, and I've said the market is just pretty much just bouncing between these levels here. And at this moment in time, it looks like price is probably going to push back to the upper level at 27.19, and we could see a nice sell opportunity there as well. I wouldn't necessarily be looking to try and stretch that trade too far in terms of, okay, if we get to that level, I'm not necessarily expecting a swing all the way back down to the low, but there's a good chance we do get a reaction there. And if price is going to break this to the upside, then of course the next big level is the all-time high, which is this level on the left, 27.88. So I'm very bullish on gold overall, longer term. If I expand to the weekly chart, kind of remove all the lower time frame noise, you can see what the market is doing. It's looking extremely bullish. Yes, we did have a bit of a drop there with those 2 weekly candles, but hasn't really changed much in the grand scheme of things. So gold to me still looking very bullish, still expecting more upside. However, don't really see a good opportunity to buy it just yet. Maybe if we come back to the lows, I still do really like this low down here, but overall not looking particularly great right now. In terms of silver, which I still like, but again, still very, still nothing there for me in terms of entries. There's a nice little bottom back down here. Since then, the market is kind of consolidating off the break of that high. So I'm kind of waiting for the higher lows to print in, and then I'll look for a higher low to get involved with, looking for a break and retest somewhere, and then hopefully find some longs to take it back into the high and back into the swing high all the way up there, 34.8.